In this lecture, I'd like to talk about reading skills, how you can help multilingual speakers of English comprehend the readings that you assign for them for your class, particularly those readings that might be difficult or contain abstract and or culturally specific ideas and language. The challenge here for you as the instructor is to provide the support that these students need without watering down the content or without coming as a sacrifice to other students that might have different backgrounds and different experiences. I think first, though, we need to talk a little bit about what reading entails and understand that reading is more than just the bottom-up processing of decoding letters, word parts, words, phrases, sentences, and then to longer text. It also involves top-down processing, that is, constructing meaning by employing background knowledge, making predictions, and searching the text to confirm or reject the predictions that are being made. Now, these two processes are related to each other. First, top-down processing facilitates bottom-up processing and vice versa. In fact, effective readers engage in both at the same time. Second, there's something called the threshold hypothesis. That is, there needs to be a threshold level of bottom-up processing. That is, we need to understand a substantial amount of vocabulary and grammar in the reading in order to engage in top-down processing or guessing. Now let's see how this works out in an actual case of reading an actual text. Here's an example text that we might not immediately understand. We may understand the individual words, like we know what a tube is, what barreling is, what stoke means, what a lip is, what the soup is, etc. But as we read this text, depending on our background knowledge or schema, that is, which I'll talk about in a second, we may not immediately understand exactly how these words are put together and how we can derive or construct meaning from it. The question is, can you guess what the meaning is here in individual sentences or the text as a whole? If you can guess, ask yourself why. How do you know? What in your background knowledge allows you, in your experiences, to guess at the meaning? If not, we need to activate and develop your background knowledge. I can do that simply by showing you a picture. See, now you know that it's about surfing. If we go back to the text now, you'll see that you'll be much more able to understand what words like tubes, barreling, stoked, machine, etc. are. And if there are words that you still don't understand, we can certainly look them up in a dictionary if you can't guess them from the context and the background knowledge. Or we could simply decide to move on in deciding that that information may not be important because we understand the overall meaning of the text. We can look at a second text also and begin to consider background knowledge as well. Here, words like innings indicate that it might be a baseball game. Okay, then we see bat or showy bat, rather a showy bat. This suggests to us in our background knowledge that it might not be American culture that we're talking about. We see bowling, we see factory, we see pitch, indicating that it's some type of sport, but the register and the dialect may not be part of American culture. Again, I can activate and help you develop background knowledge to help you construct meaning from this. What these two texts suggest to us is that activating and developing schema, or background knowledge of the text and its context, is important in helping us understand and make meaning from what we're reading. Essentially, there are three types of schemata. First, there's content schema, which involves the semantic relationships associated with a given topic. This can often be culturally specific. For example, if we think of something like the Southern Belle, There are all these semantic notions and relationships that we call to mind in order to interpret the novel Gone with the Wind. There's also formal schema. Formal schema involves the recognized genre of a text or text type, its rhetorical organization, as well as the contents of its production and interpretation. By this, I just mean who wrote this text, when, for whom, what is the sociocultural and historical context, what are other associated texts, what are the explicit and implicit cultural references in the text, what is its communicative purpose. All of these relate to form or genre that we call up for ourselves when we can identify what the type of text is. And then finally, there's linguistic schema. There's the typical vocabulary and grammatical structures that are frequently used in the text and are essential to our comprehension of the main points, themes, and other aspects of the text. So a suggestion here is for teachers to initially activate and develop schemata. One way of doing this is by using what's called a concept map or a semantic map. That is, putting on the board or on the screen or on the computer, some type of presentation, this web map. Often visuals like a picture or a movie or some other graphic representation can help students activate in their background knowledge what is a related concept or picture or set of semantic associations that they can call up and bring to the interpretation of the text. In terms of formal schema, that is genre, I might do the same with something like a Gothic novel.